Sarah and the Giant Chocolate Cake, written and illustrated and narrated by Andrew Gillies. This is a story about Sarah, a little girl who was mostly happy, even though she was very badly drawn. One day Sarah decided she would make a chocolate cake for the family to share. First she got out the great big bowl, then she got the great big box of cocoa, and she tried to pour a little bit into the bowl, but it all fell in. It was a terrible disaster. Sarah's mum heard her crying. "What's wrong, Sarah?" "I'm sorry, Mum. I've made a terrible mess. I was trying to make a cake, but all I've made is a terrible disaster I can't fix." Sarah's mum was sad because it was a disaster, because all the cocoa was used, and mostly because Sarah was so sad about it all. But Sarah's mum had a great idea, and she told Sarah's dad, and together they made a plan. First, they had to hire 3 trucks and a piece of equipment. The big truck had lots of things on it. You can see there a tank and flour, eggs, butter, sugar. I think that last one's milk. First, the backhoe dug a big hole, and then coal was dropped into the hole and set on fire. The cocoa, the flour, the milk, the eggs and the sugar were all put into the cement mixer and mixed up together. The tank was put into the hole and the cake mix was poured in. The tank was covered with hot coals and soil and left to cook. When the cake was ready, it was lifted out with a crane, and Sarah's dad cut it out of the tank with an angle grinder. When he was finished, Sarah was amazed to see the biggest, best, yummiest cake she had ever seen. By using their plan, Sarah's mum and dad had changed her terrible disaster she could not fix into something wonderful. There was once another terrible disaster that we could not fix. Jesus died on the cross. But God turned it into something wonderful. God used the cross to forgive us and turn all our terrible disasters into something great. God is like Sarah's mum and dad. They loved her and fixed up her bad mistake, even though it must have cost lots and lots. God loves us and used a plan to fix up our bad mistakes too, even though it cost God lots. Jesus died. God turns our terrible disasters into something wonderful. And that's the end.